So you want to get some earplugs. I have here some custom molded ear tips from One of One Customs. And I have some Loops earplugs for $45. Let's get into it, pros and cons, and see which one fits best for you. So these custom molded ear tips are silicone. They're a little soft, still pretty sturdy, still pretty tough. I chose to get it in two different colors, as you can see. One for my right ear, one for my left ear, and that really helps with figuring out which ear they go into. I just take one look and I know by now, I have it memorized. This one's right, this one's left. It's pretty straightforward. I also opted for this lanyard that you can see, so I can kind of just wear them around my neck. When I'm done from like my first set of our gig, I can take them out, let them rest that way. I want to stress that these are custom molded, so this isn't like some other brands. Decibels, for instance, you get it malleable from boiling it in water, and then you can go in and press it in your ear. This is not that kind of custom molded. These are done by professionals. I had to get a mold of my ear taken, and that was then shipped off to the professionals and they took care of it. We'll get a little bit more into that later in the video. So these One of One Customs also came with a case, which you can see here. It's a pretty solid case. It has a little carabiner on it, so I guess you could clip it onto a jean belt loop, or throw it inside your gig bag. There's a few things I could imagine. I mean, it's solid protection. I also throw in the manual in here, and they also come with an ear tip cleaner, which you can kind of just get in, earwax and all the disgusting stuff that gets in your earbuds. One other thing to mention with these customs is you're gonna want some kind of gel to add with these. So for this one, I use this Tech Care ear gel that came with it, and I just apply a little bit, stick it in my ear, and that seems to do the trick. These custom molded earplugs also came with a pull tab option that helps me insert it and remove it a lot easier. As far as customizability, I think that's the word. There's a lot for custom molded earplugs. So moving on to our loops with their design and features. These loop earplugs I bought with a set that came with ear tips and mute. Is a mute feature, they call it. It's this little piece that inserts into the ear tip and it adds a little bit more noise reduction. You can pull it out if you want less. They also come with multiple ear tips. So there was silicone, there was small, medium, large silicone ear tips, and then in large memory foam ear tips. I prefer the memory foam. We'll get into sound quality and noise suppression later, but they're better. Of course, it comes with a nice little case. It's a plastic one. It doesn't feel the greatest, but it's very pocketable. It even has a little cable in the back, so maybe you can hook it on a keychain or belt loop or whatever. So as far as price goes, they couldn't be more different. The loops are $45. That's with the set with the ear tips, the mute option. The custom earplugs are gonna run you about $250, and depending on what options you add. You have to ship out the custom ear tips yourself. So that mold that you'll get, that cost me $50. And from there, I had to take that, ship that out to One of One Customs, use those custom molds to then create my ear tips, which took another 2 weeks on top of a week for shipping, and then another week to get back to me. So the whole process took a little over a month to get that done. For the loops, it was as simple as going on Amazon, clicking on loops, seeing which color I wanted, purchasing it, and getting it a few days later. So purchasability and ease of access, I mean, I have to give it to the loops here. So now let's talk about comfort. It should be no surprise here that the custom molds of your ears sit much better than the loops. The loops are a generic kind of fit, kind of one size fits all. Even though you do get multiple ear tip sizes to select from, that is nice, but it will never fit as well as a custom mold. I mean, these, you can see they contour to my ear. I don't notice these after hours and hours of playing. I could probably go on for hours and hours more. So the Loops earplugs are still comfortable, don't get me wrong. After about 3 to 4 hours of wearing them, I did notice them starting to feel a little uncomfortable in my ear. But I mean, that's 3 to 4 hours of continuous usage. I personally don't really have many cases where I'd be using it longer than that, so it really wasn't a big deal for me. Which brings us to our next section. I'm gonna kind of combine the noise reduction and sound quality here a little bit. So with the silicone ear tips by themselves, you get about a 17 dB reduction. Not bad, but when you upgrade to the foam ear tips, you can get up to 20. With the mute, just the mute in there, it's supposed to get you about 22 dB. And if you use both the memory foam and the mutes, then you can get up to 25 dB SNR. So I want to talk about the sound quality now a little bit. For these loops, they are very solid. I was able to really hear a noise reduction in the overall levels of everything. It was a moderate flat attenuation. I was able to hear my bandmates speaking with me at room level when we stopped playing. I would talk with them, have conversation. The issue came after 4 hours of playing in a gig with my band. It was like 4 sets. After the 4th hour, I left with ringing despite wearing these. I was standing next to the drummer, and that's when I realized that these aren't enough. I have to get something better. So then I went through the lengthy process, but I went through it nonetheless to get these. And these are my custom molded ear tips. These I went with a Pro 26 dB, which means it should reduce the levels 26 dB. And it's a lot closer to 26 because of the seal it gives you. It sits much better in your ear. And if we're talking about sound quality, it sounds amazing. The first thing I did when I got these was I put them in my ear and I played some Billie Jean, Michael Jackson at full volume. And let me tell you, like, it sounded like I had my phone at the level 2 and no muffleness. The highs were consistent with the lows. It's a very flat attenuation curve, and you can of course get different filters. So I went with 26, but there is like a 20, there's a 25, there's even a 16, which I think Steve Aoki uses for the one-of-ones they mentioned on their website. So it just depends the applications that you need it for, but obviously sound quality, noise reduction, this is where this one shines and completely outperforms the loops. So my final thoughts. The loops are great. You can't beat them for $45, and what it comes with, what you get, it is an amazing package, and I don't have to worry about losing them as much. They're $45. If I lose them, no biggie. If I lose the customs, biggie. So I would recommend these for anyone who's a casual like concert goer. Maybe you have a band practice that you need something to throw in easily for. These will get it done for you, and if you're on a budget. These customs are for anyone who's looking to spend a little bit more on something a little bit higher quality. Maybe you want the 15 dB option and you just want some really crisp, clear audio and still be able to have full conversations with them in your ears. Or maybe you're like me and you stand next to a drummer, or you are the drummer and you need something that's going to protect you against those hard cymbal hits and snare hits. That's where I would go with these customs. So I hope that helps you figure out which direction you want to go in if you're on the fence between the loops and the customs. They're both great pairs of earbuds, and customs come in a wide range of brands and options. You don't have to just look at one of one, there's cheaper options. So yeah, that's been a review of the loops versus custom molded ear tips. Let me know what other music related content you want to see. Leave a like if you like and subscribe. It's been Sleepless 808s. Have a good night.